Hello, my PPs, and welcome back to Turnglish. I'm your practice partner, Larry Chambers. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Sheep Festival. At 4 days long, it's definitely the biggest holiday of the year, and for Muslims, the most important. As in our previous video, I'm going to speak more slowly as I show you how to answer foreigners' questions about the holiday, so it will be easier for you to practice saying the new words and sentences aloud. Let's get to it. What's the name of the holiday? The official name of this holiday is the Feast of Sacrifice. Turks never call it the Sheep Festival. Instead, this is a nickname given to it by the English-speaking foreigners who live in Turkey. The holiday gets its name from the millions of sheep that are sacrificed at this time of year. Like the Sugar Festival, the Sheep Festival is a Muslim holiday whose date changes every year on the Gregorian solar calendar. It comes around 70 days or 10 weeks after the Sugar Festival. This year, 2021, the dates are July 20th to the 23rd, which is just next week. Why do you celebrate it on that date? And now we come to what is, for me, the most interesting thing about this holiday. There seems to be no reason for celebrating it on these dates. Don't get me wrong. Of course, the holiday itself has meaning, and we're going to talk about the reasons for it in just a few seconds. But as for why we celebrate it on those dates as opposed to any other dates, no one seems to know. It's all a big mystery. If I ever solve the mystery, I promise I'll let you know. Muslims celebrate the Sheep Festival to commemorate an event believed to have happened over 4,000 years ago. The prophet Abraham was commanded to prove his love for God by sacrificing his son's life. When Abraham showed he was willing to do even this for God, God relented and spared the boy. Every year, Muslims perform a ritual sacrifice to honor Abraham's devotion to God and submission to his will. Many of my PPs are surprised when I tell them that non-Muslim Westerners already know this story. But in fact, it appears in the Old Testament of the Bible, just as it does in the Quran. There are some differences between the two scriptures. The biggest difference is that the Bible says the boy to be sacrificed was Isaac, while Muslims believe it was Abraham's other son, Ishmael. Regardless of the details, it's an important event for faithful Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. How do you celebrate that holiday? Turkey is a developing country, and agriculture makes up a much smaller part of her economy than the industry and service sectors do. So few Turks own farm animals. In the days leading up to the holiday, farmers bring their sheep to town to sell to the city folk. As you might expect, the prices of the animals are greatly inflated at this time of year. Most people sacrifice their sheep on the first day of the holiday. A few, however, wait until the second or third day to buy their sheep to take advantage of the lower prices. Occasionally, several families pool their resources and sacrifice an ox instead. Camels are also acceptable sacrificial animals, but the only camels in Turkey are the ones imported for gullible tourists to ride. For reasons of health and hygiene, the Turkish government has banned public sacrifices, except in specific large central areas of the city. The designated sacrifice locations have professional butchers on hand to do the slaughtering that most city dwellers don't know how to do themselves. Many families, especially poorer ones living in the inner city row houses, still sacrifice at home. Even large apartment complexes have permanent metal stands in their parking lots and courtyards, with meat hooks hanging from them. The authorities turn a blind eye to these home sacrifices. After a brief prayer is said over the animal, its throat is slit and it's allowed to bleed to death. Most poor families hire a butcher to do this for them. They give the butcher the sheepskin in payment for his services. In villages, of course, especially in farming communities, families perform their own sacrifices and dress the meat themselves. After the sheep has been slaughtered, skinned, and gutted, the butcher's job is done. The whole family then begins to divvy up the meat. They will only keep a third of it for themselves. They'll distribute another third of the meat to their relatives who couldn't afford to sacrifice this year. And the last third goes to the poor. Much of the rest of the holiday is spent cooking and eating the sacrificial meat. When I first came to Turkey 30 years ago, the sheep festival was possibly the most popular holiday of the year among Turks. A lot has changed in the last 3 decades. Educated city Turks shield their children from the sight of the sacrifices, and many more families have pets in their homes these days. Probably as a result of these changes, the younger generation is less enthusiastic about the sheep festival. Some younger folks even hate it. There are several similarities between the sugar and sheep festivals. Kids do their door-to-door candy collections. Families, in their holiday best, visit one another. Guests receive cologne and sweets. Folks kiss their elders' hands, and many people travel long distances to spend the holiday with loved ones. In fact, traveling is, for religious Muslims, the most important part of the holiday. That's because this is the time of year when Muslims make their Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca. Thanks for practicing your English with me. I hope this video has been informative for you. I look forward to your comments and suggestions, and I'll try to answer all of them quickly. Please join me in my next video, which should be ready in just a few days. We're going to begin learning how to explain the secular holidays to our English-speaking friends. Until then, take care.